Welcome back to our journey through the Bible. This story is about Korah's rebellion. The journey through the wilderness was long and hard. 40 years of wandering, waiting for an entire generation to pass away. The air was thick with tension, and patience had worn dangerously thin. Some of the people began to seriously question Moses' leadership. A man named Korah, a Levite who served in the tabernacle itself, decided to make his move. He wasn't alone. He gathered 250 other community leaders, respected men, well known throughout the assembly, and together they confronted Moses and Aaron. Their argument sounded reasonable. It sounded spiritual, almost democratic. They said, "You have gone too far. The whole community is holy, every one of them, and the Lord is with them. Why then do you set yourselves above the Lord's assembly?" In other words, we're all holy. We're all equal. Who made you the boss? Hidden beneath this religious language was a toxic mix of pride, jealousy, and outright rebellion against God's chosen leaders. When Moses heard this, his first reaction was to fall to his knees in prayer. Then he stood up and laid out a test. He said to Korah and his followers, "In the morning, the Lord will show who belongs to him and who is holy." The plan was simple. Korah and his 250 men would each take a censer, a special container for burning incense. They would fill them with fire and incense and present them before the Lord at the tabernacle. Aaron would do the same. Everyone would see who God had truly chosen. Moses then spoke directly to Korah, saying, "Isn't it enough for you that the God of Israel has separated you from the rest of the community to bring you near himself, to do the work at the Lord's tabernacle? He's brought you and all your fellow Levites near, but now you are trying to get the priesthood too. It is against the Lord that you have banded together. Who is Aaron that you should grumble against him?" Moses also summoned two other key figures in the rebellion, Dathan and Abiram, but they flat out refused to come. Their response was dripping with defiance. "Will you gouge out the eyes of these men?" "No, we will not come," they shouted. This wasn't a simple disagreement. It was an open mutiny. Moses was deeply hurt and angry. He prayed to the Lord, "Do not accept their offering. I haven't taken so much as a donkey from them, nor have I wronged any of them." The next morning, Korah gathered his entire group of followers against Moses and Aaron right at the entrance to the tent of meeting. Suddenly, the glorious presence of the Lord appeared before the entire assembly. God's voice boomed, speaking to Moses and Aaron, "Separate yourselves from this assembly, so I can put an end to them at once." But even in the face of this rebellion, Moses and Aaron's first instinct was to intercede for the people. They fell to knees again and cried out, "O God, the God who gives breath to all living things, will you be angry with the entire assembly when only one man sins?" God listened. He relented from destroying everyone on the spot. Instead, he instructed Moses, "Tell the assembly to move away from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram." Moses went to the tents of Dathan and Abiram, with the elders of Israel following him. He gave a warning. "Move back from the tents of these wicked men. Do not touch anything belonging to them, or you will be swept away because of all their sins." The people scrambled back, creating a clear space around the rebels' camp. Then Dathan and Abiram came out, standing defiantly at the entrances to their tents with their wives, their sons, and their little children. Moses then spoke to the crowd, his voice ringing with authority. "This is how you will know that the Lord has sent me to do all these things, and that it was not my own idea. If these men die a natural death, then the Lord has not sent me. But if the Lord brings about something totally new, and the earth opens its mouth and swallows them, with everything that belongs to them, and they go down alive into the realm of the dead, then you will know that these men have treated the Lord with contempt." As soon as he finished speaking, the ground beneath Dathan and Abiram's feet split apart. The earth literally opened its mouth and swallowed them, their families, their households, and all their possessions. They went down alive into the grave, and the earth closed over them. They were gone. The people watching screamed in terror and fled, shouting, "The earth is going to swallow us too." But the judgment wasn't over. A fire then flashed out from the Lord and consumed the 250 men, including Korah, who were offering incense at the tabernacle. You would think that would be the end of it. You would think the lesson was learned. But incredibly, the very next day, the entire Israelite community started grumbling against Moses and Aaron again. "You have killed the Lord's people," they accused. It's almost impossible to believe. They had just witnessed God's terrifying and direct judgment, and now they were siding with the rebels he had just destroyed. Once again, the glory of the Lord appeared, and God said to Moses, "Get away from this assembly, so I can put an end to them at once." And once again, Moses and Aaron fell on their faces. This time, Moses shouted to Aaron, "Take your censer, put incense in it with fire from the altar, and hurry to the assembly to make atonement for them. Wrath has come out from the Lord. The plague has started." Aaron didn't hesitate. He grabbed his censer and ran right into the middle of the assembly. The plague was already spreading like wildfire. People were dying. But Aaron offered the incense, making atonement for the people. He literally stood between the living and the dead, and the plague was stopped. But before it ended, another 14,700 people had died, in addition to those who died with Korah. This story is terrifying. It shows how seriously God takes rebellion against his authority. But it's crucial to understand this wasn't just about Moses and Aaron. Korah and his followers were ultimately rebelling against God. Their spiritual-sounding words about equality were just a cover for their pride, their envy, and their refusal to accept God's appointed order. They weren't content with the important role God had given them. They wanted more, and it cost them everything. But notice the beautiful picture of grace hidden within this horror. Aaron, the high priest, stood in the gap. He stood between the living and the dead, making atonement and stopping the plague. It's a powerful foreshadowing of what Jesus, our great high priest, does for us. He stands between us and the judgment we deserve, stopping the plague of sin and death through his own sacrifice. The rebellion taught Israel some hard lessons. God's authority is not negotiable. Rebelling against his chosen leaders is rebelling against him, and spiritual language can easily hide sinful motives. But even in judgment, God's mercy was present. The bronze censers of the 250 men were hammered into sheets to cover the altar, a permanent reminder to not follow in Korah's footsteps. The story ends with a reminder that pride leads to destruction, but also that God's grace endures. Despite their constant rebellion, God continued to lead and provide for his people. His mercy triumphed, even in the midst of judgment. Thanks for watching. If this story impacted you, consider liking this video and subscribing for more content that dives deep into these powerful accounts. See you next time.